not damage the toast in the least. So they're wonderful things, actually. Well, so then, of course, electricity hit the world scene, and we developed some of this type of toaster. Originally, well, here's a nice example here. I'll have to show you. These came with a cord that was about 15 feet long. And that is so if you didn't have electricity in your house yet, you could get some from your neighbors. Whoops. And of course, you put the, can you zoom in on this a little bit? I'll show you how it works here. You put the toast in, or actually put the bread in, how about that? You put the bread in, you closed it, and after an appropriate amount of time, actually if this were toast, let's do it with toast. I don't want to plug it in because, let's try it over again. Put the bread in. When it gets stiff enough, you slide it down like that, and the toast turns over and you do the other side. The wonderful thing about this kind of toaster is that it left the making of toast still up to the individual. You did not turn the destiny of your bread over to a machine, because you had to, there was no automatic pop-up, no timer. You had to do it pretty much all yourself. The one advantage, of course, is that it was much easier to turn the bread over than it was to take it off a stick or a fork and do it that way, because this way your fingers never even touch the hot toast. Well, this one, of course, if you can get a close-up of that, is a nice. All of these toasters had a really fine design. This is kind of an Art Deco kind of thing. Isn't that pretty? And then next to it we have one that is kind of reminiscent of the New Mexico, Arizona, the American Southwest, kind of Indian design on it. Very nice. This kind was, notice it's vertical on the sides rather than pyramid shaped, so that in order to keep the toast in, these were spring-loaded. So you turned your toast over and then it'd go wham, and it would just slam your toast right up against the elements and do the other side. And then this one, of course, is probably a little older. In fact, I looked on the bottom, it's got a patent date of 1914. This is the kind of toast, if you think about it, this is about 1914 when Einstein, he had already written the general theory of relativity, and now, or have I had that backwards? He had written the special theory of relativity, and he was working on the general theory of relativity. So this is the kind of toaster that Einstein, when he came down to breakfast, would have used to cook his toast before he went away in the morning and to work on his great works. Right? And it's amazing, when you think that here, at this time, human beings could figure out the entire universe, but they had no idea yet that you could cook both sides of a piece of bread at once and cut down on your waiting time considerably and actually mechanize it even more. So here is one of the first examples of a toaster that was designed to toast bread on two sides. And I'll plug it in over here. And show you how it works. Actually, this toaster was one given to my parents on their wedding day in 1930. And notice it has two controls on the front. The one is a timer, and you set the this little button here for how far the timer goes down. And of course, it takes a lot of experience to actually to run one of these, because of course to get the whoops, I got the hole in the bread here. Do I want it? I'll do it differently. To get the perfect piece of toast, it varies every day depending on the ambient temperature, the humidity, the freshness of the bread, and so you have to take all of those things into account to adjust this little button here. But you set the timer going, and then you drop the toast in, and then you have this wonderful period of anticipation. And notice that that little handle creeps slowly towards the top, and when it gets up to the top, the toaster will fire. It's a very pleasant sound, you know, it brings back all kinds of childhood memories for me. And you know, while you're sitting there listening to the toaster click away, it reminds you kind of old jokes I used to hear in my childhood. One I remember is Ole Johnson. He comes down, he's working in the lumber camp. The joke probably originated in Minnesota or Wisconsin, somewhere like that. He comes down to the lumber camp and sits down to the breakfast table, sits down and gets his toast like this and says, "Pass the jelly." And everybody around who's been in America longer than he has says, "That's not jelly, that's jelly. You've got to learn, you're in America now, you've got to learn to pronounce it right." And so he goes off and he practices and comes back in a few weeks and he says, "Pass the, there." Well, it's got a little brown. I guess I didn't push it down far enough. We're going to do it a little more here. While the joke finishes. There. So finally, after about 6 weeks, he's got it mastered, right? And he comes down to the breakfast table. He puts on his best clothes. He's really proud of himself. He comes down to the breakfast table, gets his toast, butters the toast, gets all ready, and finally he says, Ole says, "Would you please pass the jelly?" And somebody says, "That's not jelly, it's jam." And he says, "Gall darn it, I spent 6 weeks learning how to say jelly, and now you call it yam." Those were in the days, that's probably about a joke from about 1910. That's when people, when they heard a joke, they went, "Har, har, har, har." Of course, then in the 50s, when people heard a joke, they